Today marks 7 weeks since the Ross procedure to fix my bicuspid aortic valve, or open heart surgery. Here's the scar. It hasn't changed much in the last couple weeks or so. It's very red. Doesn't really hurt me at all. Still hairs growing through it, which I thought wouldn't happen, but it's all good. Not a whole lot of pain in my sternum. It does kind of feel like it comes together like that, like it's a little raised where they wired everything shut. But in terms of getting in out of bed, picking anything up, that's, I'm supposed to be picking things up that are like 10 pounds or less, but everything's been great. Really no difference from pre-op in terms of like everyday things at this point, which is wonderful. But I thought I'd give just a quick summary of where I am and where I'm shooting to be. So today I was able to walk a mile, jog half a mile after, and then previously in the day I did go to the driving range and play golf for about an hour. So that was the most active I've been in this entire time, but I've been very linear about it. I've been taking as many walks as I can throughout the day, and I've just been building and building and building upon that, which I found was the best way to do this, and I found I felt the best doing that. Before, I had some problems going into AFib, and then I actually went to the hospital again a few weeks after AFib. I think it wasn't that I was pushing too hard, but I wasn't really realizing where I was at in terms of what my body could handle. You're already going through so much stress, physiologically, mentally, emotionally, and those things come together, whether it is physical or emotional or mental or spiritual, whatever a stressor might be, they compile, and there's only so much your body can handle. And I think that's one of the reasons I went into AFib, was I emotionally and mentally had something happen to me relationship-wise that was pretty devastating, and I went through that while my body's trying to heal, and that became an issue when I also wanted to push myself in terms of just walking, and like I really wanted to have this recovery, just I wanted to be special. I wanted to have the best recovery of anybody to ever have this surgery, and I just went a little too much. Now I think the mindset I had was the right mindset, but I think there's part of it that I needed to listen to my body and understand what's going on. So after that, after my third hospitalization, which was might have been a month ago, kind of losing track of time, the goal for me was just to walk as much as possible. Find something that's low effort, and again, that's walking, making sure that you do the talk test. Can you talk as you walk? Are you as long as you're not winded and you feel good before, during, after, it's usually a good sign that you did an appropriate amount and you might be able to go a little further. So that's all I did. I started with, how can I accumulate to a mile a day? So it's like, I'm not going to start by just walking a mile. I started with a quarter mile, a half mile, and then I would do that a couple times. Weeks go by, and then I'm accumulating to a mile. So then the next stepstone for me was getting a mile in a straight shot, which I achieved that as well. So at this point in time, I walk at least a mile a day, sometimes multiple miles a day. Just, again, it's just walking. My pace is like a 20 to 22 minute mile, so I'm just chilling. Usually sometimes I listen to music, talk on the phone, podcasts, that sort of thing. And this past week I started jogging, so same linear fashion that I was going through with the walks. So it was like, I kind of just tested it out. I was like, let's try a quarter mile, see how quickly my body can adjust, see how fast my heart rate spikes, what speed do I have to go to make sure that I'm not crossing that threshold of like 130 beats per minute. And the speed's funny because I probably could have walked faster, but I was still, jogging technically, and that was the start. It felt good. It just felt good for both of my feet to leave the ground. after running and missing that a lot. So that was the first step there. Today I ran it was 3/4 of a mile after my mile walk. I aimed for half. I went to 0.75, and we're gonna see how my body adjusts. So my game plan for my week is walk a mile every single day, and then 3 days this week do a half-mile jog. And then as I tolerate that, then I might add another half-mile jog as we go. Once I accumulate, the goal for me is to be able to run a mile a day each day of the week, and then build from there. So that's where I'm going in that respect. Golfing was an interesting experiment. I tried a week or so ago to just, swing, keep my arms within itself, that sort of thing. Same sort of progression that I wanted to do with walking. So how many swings can I do at half speed? How many swings can I do at more range of motion? And just playing with it and making sure I'm monitoring. Again, I have my watch, so I just take a look at all that while I go. It gives me a lot more confidence that we're gonna be okay. So that's where I'm at so far. But yeah, my best advice, once you kind of clear the 4 to 6 week mark, which is where most of the complications come from, and you're still readjusting to being home, is just easy. Everything can be easy, and you can still progress. I have a bad mindset, and I know a lot of people do as well. It's like when you go to the gym, you go as hard as possible, because if you're not sore the next day, then it didn't count. But that's not how these things work. And again, this is just for me. I'm not a medical doctor or your cardiac rehab guy, but my advice would be start with what you can do it multiple times a day, and then try and lengthen and go from there. That for me has been wonderful. The other part, which I mentioned in previous videos, is you really need to prepare yourself mentally. This is a long haul of a challenge. There are some really bad days and some really good days, especially when you leave the transition from first waking up, being in the hospital, leaving the hospital, going home, and then readjusting. That's a whole different game than what I'm experiencing now. I would really prepare some books, I got into meditation. I was already doing it before, but for me, books, meditation, journaling, I spend a lot of time with myself. I spent the majority of my time over the course of this recovery working on myself internally. And I think that's made the world of a difference. If I have no idea where I'd be at right now if I got home and played on my phone all day and watched movies. I went through, I think I've read 14 books at this point, so it's around 2 a week, and they've guided me through all of it. Most of them are, self-improvement books, and it got me to go through a dopamine detox. I deleted all my social media, downloaded YouTube because I wanted to at least share this. Got rid of video games, TV, all that sort of stuff. Not to say I don't do it, but when I went to go through my day and see what's preventing me and just taking up time, a lot of that stuff was just distracting me. But I wasn't dealing with any of the emotions I had. I wasn't dealing with the situation I had. I wasn't able to see what a blessing that I was put into, that I had this time to change my life. I had the ability now to try and help other people that are in a similar situation. And I want to continue to build that. I want to continue to get better. And that's all because of this. So creating some sort of benefit, some sort of purpose for why this has happened, I think is the biggest thing of all, of anything. You're granted so much time. Life can finally slow down. I mean, everyone's got work and family and all this stuff to worry about all the time. And then one day it becomes about surviving. And the survival aspect of it will turn your head inside out. And if you can get through that, and you can survive those days, and you can go deep within yourself, then this experience will be the most profound and life-changing experience for the better that you can find. And that's what I've found. And I'm trying to articulate stuff and continue to read and become more of a leader and have more experience to talk about these. And I hope I will be able to kind of talk more about not much this experience in particular, but in a broader sense, changing your life and changing my life and where to start. And that's my goal for the future, is to continue getting better, continue talking, and getting to a point where I can really help people. So sorry, you should probably skip through those last 10 seconds. That's my advice again, and I'm going to keep saying it because I don't know I don't know who's going to watch what. I'm going to continue saying how important it is to truly dig into the deep questions and figure out who you are and what you truly want deep down. So, with that being said, last thing I'm going to talk about here is my physical goals for the year. I signed up for the Philadelphia Marathon, I think last week, maybe a week and a half ago. So come November, I think it's November 22nd of 2026, I will be running the Philadelphia Marathon. So I'm going to try to document that, go through as much of that as I can to show people this is more of a blessing than anything I've had in my entire life. The biggest challenges that you will have in your life are the biggest blessings, and I will continue to try and get better, and that is one of the biggest hurdles that I can think of physically that feels impossible right now. I'm going to make it possible. And then in the following years, my goal is to be an Ironman and finish that race. So, all right. Bless you all and have a great New Year. Happy New Year. Happy 2026.